What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the 16th episode of the Lob It Up Podcast with your hosts, Tobias, Chris, and Siavash. Boys, before we get into basketball, I want to point out the obvious. Chris, you look like you're bandaged up. What's going on, brother?
Whoa.
We had a little incident, little home gym incident, and a guy sliced his finger open. Had to get stitches. It's crazy.
Dang. That's tough.
It was so
bro.
dumb. It was my own laziness, and so that's a lesson to all our listeners. If something would normally take you 5 seconds, and you're like, you know what? If I do this, it's gonna take me 2. Take the 5 seconds. Just take the 5 seconds.
You've had bad luck with plates, too. Like, there was one that broke earlier on this year as well.
Oh, yeah, broke that. That was at the gym. No, this one was, like, just weird, because, like, I was moving for... Some listeners obviously know what a power rack is, others may not. Basically, it's just, like, the cage where, like, that supports the weight and the bar and all that shenanigan. So I was moving the bench inside the cage, and usually, again, 5 seconds just to pull the entire bench out, spin it around, pull it back in. I was like, nah, I can take 2 seconds just to spin it around to inside the cage. I don't need to take it out. As I'm spinning it and I go to put it down, my finger gets caught on like an edge, and then the bench like kind of squish it. So at first I was like, oh shoot, like I pinched my finger. I was like, it's fine, it's whatever. Continue my business, and then I look at my hand, blood, and I was like, shit.
Oh,
So then I look down and I'm like, oh man, it cracked my nail. So like that's why my finger's bleeding, because it cracked. But I was like, actually, there's a lot of blood for just a crack. And I look closer, and then I noticed it actually sliced through my finger, through my nail, and like a bit. So I ended up having to get like 5 stitches or whatever.
Wow, getting gory this week. Getting gory this week.
I know.
And
That's right. I came here to talk about basketball. I didn't want to hear all that.
hey, even with the pinky, I was out there. I've golfed twice with it.
Wow.
Basically on my Tiger Woods shit. You know, I had my torn ACL, but I'm still playing. I'm still crushing. I'm still winning. So
And
whatever.
speaking of gory, Mr. Gorbani, how are you doing?
Oh,
how was your week?
I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I'll give you the credit. That was good. Like, it was right up top. I'm good, man. I'm doing all right. I saw Chris on the weekend. I randomly saw that finger, and I got scared. I was like, what the fuck is that? And he's like, oh, yeah, that's the card I showed you guys.
That's tough.
Yeah. I hope he gets better. I think he's going to get the stitches out earlier today. And, what's going on in the background?
Yeah, I got my new desk, so now it's all kind of set up. We got the layout here. So you got the Kobe jersey and the Travis Scott painting. From Chris in the back. We got some hockey jerseys there. We're not going to talk any hockey, though. And then we got some autographed memorabilia.
No. We got to talk about last night. Talk to us.
It's tough,
for our basketball fans, we're going to talk about a little bit of hockey. Last night was Game 7?
Game 7
for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
And it's
for
just
those
like...
who don't know, Tobes is a big Leafs guy. He's a big hockey guy.
I picked the wrong teams, clearly. I mean, between the Clippers and the Leafs, they always find a way to break my heart. And, I've made a vow that if the Clippers, they are making a bit of a comeback. There's still 3 games left to be played, so, it could go either way. But if the Clippers also lose in round 1, I'm not watching any sports until September, October. Obviously, I'll still be able to contribute to the conversation, but my poor heart, I can't take it. The Leafs have been doing this to me for years, even longer than the Clippers, but it's too much, man.
Before we get started, I don't really follow hockey, but did they blow out a 3-1
They
lead?
blew out a 3-1 lead. This is the first time. All the other times they've been down 3-1, they come back, and then they have a terrible Game 7. They're just not good at Game 7s. And I knew going into it. Like, Will, I think you guys know Will. He's also a big Leafs fan, and he put $50 down on the Habs to win. He's like, I think the Habs are going to win. Like, there's no way. Like, the Leafs choke. So, yeah, we're quite rattled in Leaf land here. So, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. But getting off that terrible, terrible, tragic news, let's bring it into, maybe a bit happier note. Chris, you got some trivia? You got some questions for us this week?
I got some questions for you guys.
Okay.
All right, you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
No.
Oh, this guy said no. All right. This player has the highest career free throw percentage. Who is this player?
Oh, I have the whiteboard this time, too.
Are these repeats?
Nope.
Highest career free throw percentage?
Yeah. Last time I did 3-point percentage.
Oh yeah, that's what
and it was Steve Kerr.
Free
Okay.
throw.
I'm gonna write an alternative answer. It's not my submission, but I'm gonna write it in case
No,
if it's
whatever
not this player.
whatever I see on the whiteboard is what I am taking as an answer.
I don't know why, and I don't think this is it, but we'll take it.
Okay, I'm gonna cover my alternative answer with my hand so you don't see it.
All right.
All right, Tobias, you go ahead. Read your answer for listeners.
Allen Iverson. Allen the answer Iverson.
Okay.
Wait, free throw?
Yes. I don't know. I just was throwing one out there.
It is Stephen Curry for my answer. I will let you know about my other submission if.
What
this
was
is
your
not correct.
other submission? Let me hear your other submission.
Steve Nash. I've written it on the corner.
You should have went with your alternative because that
It
is
was?
correct.
Fuck.
It is Steve Nash.
Wow.
Yeah, with the career field free throw percentage of .9043.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know why I thought AI. I was just I don't know. I was
I
like,
don't know.
Chris
Because
is a big
is it-
AI guy. I thought maybe this was a
Yeah, man.
AI answer.
You know, I was trying to trick you.
Honestly,
We'll rope it over.
can I? Honestly, bro, I hate to do this, but your answer is not correct.
Uh-oh.
I just fact checked it.
Is it
Uh-oh.
Stephen Curry.
Is it Steph Curry now?
Yeah, he took over, and right now he's .9069 compared to Steve Nash's of .9043.
Was that just for this season?
No, this is all time.
All time? Oh, well, I guess
Oh,
you're
man,
right.
I
then.
hate to do this. I hate to.
You're
do
right then.
Wow.
So old. I guess it was just They haven't updated it yet, so looks like you're right.
That's wild. That is
Crazy.
wild.
A turn of events.
Turn of events, yeah.
Looks like this guy's the winner now. Winner wearing chicken dinner.
You know why? Because I heard this somewhere like, oh, with this game, he's now the highest.
You know
free throw
what?
percentage
Yeah,
player.
I
This
think
was a few
you're-
weeks ago.
Yes, I'm pretty sure you're right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, they had us the first half. I'm not gonna lie.
Had me in the first half.
You got another question for us?
All right, and the second question is, what team holds the record for the most points scored in one season?
Ooh.
Ooh, in one season.
In one season.
Like, do you want the year or just the team?
You can just do the team.
There's an obvious answer, but I feel like there's another one that we've talked about before, Sivash.
You know what it is? I will bet you right now, this is a very recent team.
Within the past
actually
10
down.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna write an answer.
I'm going to do the same thing that Sivash did last. Last question, write his main answer, but then write his secondary one.
Now, Chris, walk us through this answer. Were you surprised by this team?
I was.
Okay, that definitely makes me feel less comfortable about my answer.
Yeah, me too.
I was, but I wasn't.
So,
if that
okay,
makes
you put two and
sense.
two together.
I'm just gonna go with my initial answer, the one I thought off the jump, and then I'll show you my suggested one afterwards.
I'm quickly gonna write down my other answer. And Tobias, go ahead.
I think I gotta go with the Golden State Warriors.
I have the same answer as my main answer.
And then for my secondary answer, I went with the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
That's a good
I was
answer.
thinking that
Who
that
was your
squad,
secondary?
yeah.
For my secondary answer, I went with the Houston Rockets.
Wow. Okay. Well. And I made sure I'm fact checking this now too. So I'm
I
doing
got
like a quick thing.
I apologize for making this thing now.
No. You are both wrong.
I thought for sure. Okay,
The
go
answer
ahead.
What's the
is
team?
the answer is still the 1981-1982 Denver Nuggets.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah,
So we were like way
they,
off.
I think they scored in that thing like a combined of 10,371 points that season.
Jesus.
That's a lot of points.
Like those
That's a lot
are,
of
yeah,
points.
those are fucking. That's a lot of points.
That's like my career achievement.
See, we were
Going
thinking.
to a Hall of Fame.
I think what Sivash and I were thinking were, some deep range shooters. The James Hardens, the Stephen Currys. But then I guess maybe what we should have also thought of was kind of the leniency in the '80s and that style of basketball. But yeah.
Yeah, I thought of that, and I said this was probably in the recent time because of how much we've seen the scoring go up in the recent.
Recent
NBA.
years, yeah. But I feel like those scores, unless it's just like a complete blowout, scores don't go over like 120 unless you're going into overtime nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing, I think it was last year where the Rockets went up against the Wizards, and it was like 155 to 150 in one game. It's a lot of scoring these days.
Yeah, no.
You got another one, Chris?
No, that's everything for me today. We just have those two.
Hey,
Now, I know. So, I think I didn't really have any like discussion, like questions about, the whole thing. I actually kind of want to bring it back too about when I asked you boys about your thoughts on the whole, if the Bucks swept Miami, how you got did that change your opinion on the fluke season of the bubble season of the Miami Heat, or is it just like the Heat just couldn't get it going?
I think this is a good way of getting into it. Our predictions for this was you guys picked the Bucks in 6. I had the Heat in 7. And we all kind of looked at the Heat as a team that could contribute the same way, even though the Bucks are better this year. And we've seen with the addition of Drew Holiday and
Drew Holiday
and the
seemed
fact-
to be like that guy. I guess they were missing that piece.
for
Bro,
sure.
these games were disgusting.
And just the fact that Eric Bledsoe is not there is also a huge thing.
Massive.
Just the fact that they're not playing 4-on-6 is huge.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do I look at them as like the run from last year as a fluke? No, I just think that this year they didn't have the same offense and the pieces weren't working the same. The sweeping thing, I just think they ran up against a team
That's
that was
tough,
clicking the best
dude.
way.
That's tough. Did the roster change much from last year? I can't remember because, like, in my mind, it was pretty much the exact same team, at least with the big pieces, that it was last year. I know Bam was a ghost in the playoffs this year, so that obviously is a huge factor. People were saying, I don't know if it was on this podcast, it might have been on a different podcast, but I remember hearing someone saying that Bam needs to play at the same level as Jimmy Butler if they're going to compete and compete hard. So, yeah, that's tough, man.
And I've been seeing like so many memes of like, that famous picture of Tyler where he's mean mugging after making that shot. And people are just like, man hasn't been the same since this pick.
Yeah.
And it's kind of true. The man was pretty quiet too all series.
Yeah.
So
that's tough. So yeah, so no one guessed the Bucks taking it in 4, but the Bucks, they're a dominant team, man. Like they're not to be fucked with.
Imagine, do you think they'll go to the finals this year?
I mean, my wallet's hoping that the Nets go to the finals. But yeah, we'll see.
A lot of people are.
Yeah. I mean, and
Go
ahead.
Okay, sorry about that. I was just going to say, I think the way they're clicking and the way that they're able to play off of Giannis is huge. Another thing that I think should be mentioned is Mike Budenholzer. In his career, he's been seen as a guy that cannot make the adjustments in the playoffs. What makes a great coach in the playoffs is being able to make adjustments by game and even by quarter.
Yeah.
To be able to see, it's like a chess match. You want to be able to play off somebody and be able to make those adjustments. And this year, it seems that he's finally able to do that. Even though in his career, we've seen that he just sticks to what he's done. And a lot of analysts didn't even see him as a fit coach to be able to win you a championship. But this year, I think somebody has to say something about that.
Yeah, and I think I said when we did our predictions, I said if the Bucks, like, if they fuck this up, not out of the NBA Finals, but like if they don't get to the conference finals, I can maybe make a case because they are coming out of the tougher side of the bracket in the second round. But when we had talked about Miami versus Milwaukee, I was thinking, bro, if they lose in the first round, Budenholzer's gone. Because it was the same thing with Atlanta, right? In the East, get your team to a competitive spot, compete all the time, be a dominant regular season team. But if you can't do it in the playoffs, it's all for nothing. It's pointless. So, I'm hoping the Milwaukee Bucks go, they go the distance, or at least to the conference, the conference finals, because Giannis is that good of a player, and I would like Giannis to stay in Milwaukee, to be honest with you. I know Chris would rather him be in Toronto, but I'd like to see him stay in Milwaukee, man.
Yeah. It'd be nice. Also, I was reading something that, I guess his younger brother is back in Greece dealing with some, family things.
Is that
so
Alex?
That's why. Is it the one that's on the Lakers?
Kostas? Yeah.
Yeah, Kostas. And stuff. So I was just like, is Giannis not back there? Or is it just because Giannis, their team swept the Miami Heat so fast, he was able just to go back?
Yeah.
Because I guess they were saying Kostas won't be back until basically if the Lakers make it to the next round.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the Lakers are gonna miss his impact.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. I was because it came from Woj, so I'm just like, bro, why is he making it seem without Kostas,
yeah,
the Lakers are gonna die.
I can hear the Lakers fans now. Well, we didn't have Kostas. We lost the first round because we didn't have Kostas. All right, bro. I think it's a bit bigger than that.
It's like missing Kyrie in the 2015 finals. Come on.
Yeah.
Staying in the East, though, we did bring up, in our trivia, in our questions, we brought up teams with the most points scored. We did bring up their potential second-round matchup. The Milwaukee Bucks would be facing against the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets, the other night, totaled between their three superstars, Harden, Kyrie, and KD, 104 points, I think. Pretty impressive. That's sometimes a team's total scoring average, but those three were able to combine for over 100 points. The other game, what do you guys think about the Brooklyn Nets and Boston Celtics series? Obviously, I think we all took Brooklyn to win. I said a sweep because I had no faith in Boston, but Tatum went off, man.
And looking at that game, man, Tatum really he was taking very difficult shots. And I think when you watch that game again, you will see how the Nets took their foot off the gas in that game 3. And they could have swept them if they really were pushing for it. That's one thing that worries me about this series and the Nets moving forward, is that if they're going to put their foot on the gas, keep their foot on the gas, just try to get that person out of it. The same way that Giannis was talking about the Heat. They weren't playing with their food. The Nets are kind of doing that.
Quote.
So that worries me a little bit.
Chris, what's your take on the Nets and the Celtics series?
Sorry, no, I was just going because I missed the last game, the most recent one.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So I was just going back and looking at the box scores and just looking at stuff, and it's just fuck, man, damn, kind of sucks because when I'm looking at Boston, it's bro, it's Tatum, he dropped 40, 47 and 5, and then the next highest is Fournier and Smart with 16 each, and it's damn, bro.
And Cardiac Kemba's not playing, right? I don't know. Is he playing or is he just that inconsistent? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very inconsistent.
So it's just damn, bro. It just doesn't seem yes, I guess everybody else is contributing kind of here and there for Boston, but it doesn't look like he has anybody else to lean on or anybody else to create shot opportunities for him, right? Because it's you have Harden, Kyrie, and fucking Durant out there. It's okay, let me lock off Durant. Sick.
Yeah.
I'll kick it to Harden. Oh, okay, let's lock off Harden. Sick. I'll kick it to Kyrie or back to. It's bro, there's options. And it's you lock down Tatum, and it's who am I passing it to?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Even then, you got to talk about somebody like Joe Harris. If you try to guard those three players, Joe Harris is still a great 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
That is if that's your best case scenario, hey, we're going to try to keep doubling these guys, either the paint's going to be open or you're one of the best shooters in the league in Joe Harris.
Another scary thing is, and I don't know where the report is now, but I remember hearing this mid-season, Spencer Dinwiddie is starting to recover. Like, if they make a deep enough run, he could potentially be there for the conference finals or the finals. Like,
Bruh.
that's fucked, bro, because Dinwiddie's a good player, man. Like, that's gross. Can you imagine? They probably have him off the bench, but, like, that's disgusting, dude.
They'd be
That
so
would be
good.
his best fit.
Man,
Way too good.
like, that would be embarrassing. But, okay, moving off of that series, I want to leave the Knicks and Hawks series for last in the East, but let's talk about the Philly and Washington series. I believe, I didn't watch the game last night, obviously. I was watching the Leafs game, but I believe Joel Embiid got injured, and he's going for an MRI today, I think.
I heard something about that.
So that's gonna be a huge impact for the Philadelphia 76ers team. And did Washington get the win last night as well?
Washington did get the win, so
that's
now
crazy.
It's 3-1.
If Joel
Yeah,
Embiid is out for this series, is there a way that the Washington Wizards can come back and win? Do you think Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook can push it to 7 and win?
I think so. If Embiid is out, just because you gotta think like between Embiid and Simmons, both of them are such like a defensive presence, especially Embiid down in like the paint. But with Embiid gone, like Embiid was gone after only playing like 11 minutes, right? So you can almost kind of see that shift in like momentum like a little bit. Like obviously like Philly, looking at the quarters, Philly only had a bad quarter in the third, and I guess that's what basically cost him this game, because it was pretty much like neck and neck like the entire game.
Wow.
But yeah, with Embiid being gone, like I think that just creates like more shot opportunities for them, especially down low. Probably like able to get more second chance points and buckets and stuff like that.
And they'll be hungry too. They'll be
Exactly.
hungry for
Yeah,
it.
they're coming down, 3-1. I think Russ is still gonna push. Like, obviously Russ doing his thing last night, had fucking 19 points, 21 rebounds, and 14 assists.
What?
It's like
21 rebounds? Oh my god. Is that a career high for him?
bro.
Because that's
I
a
don't even-
lot, bro.
Like, bro, you're out rebounding your center.
That's what I'm saying. That's a lot for
Like-
a big.
Like, you out rebounded both of your centers. Like,
Another thing was he went 3 of 18, but those free throws came in clutch.
That's crazy.
yeah, that's
Why do you say that rebounding thing? One side I remember from halfway through the season, post All-Star break, Russell Westbrook led the league in rebounds and assists. Not just for guards, in everybody. He led it for rebounds and assists. That's just
crazy.
This guy was off the rails. He brought that team from the 13th seed to the 8th seed. And now the fact they're in the playoffs. Do I think that they can come back? Yeah. Do I also believe in Ben Simmons going off for one game and leading that team to a win? Yeah.
True. You only need one, right?
Yeah, I do think that Joel Embiid being in the paint was a huge threat, but at the same time, I think Ben Simmons' playmaking and those other pieces like Tobias Harris, Seth Curry, Danny Green.
Oh, yeah, I
Look at
forgot
those
about
guys.
Good
fucking
name.
Danny Green. What a piece of shit.
What did he do to you?
Everyone hates Danny Green.
No, I
bro.
just hate Danny Green just because it's like this guy just moves from championship team to championship team.
Bro, he is the
He
championship.
got traded.
I know, but still, it just sucks. It's just how he gets traded, It's like, well, he's on the Spurs, wins a ring with the Spurs. And he's like, oh, wins a ring with the Raptors. Oh, wins a ring with the Lakers. And if he wins a ring with fucking
Bro,
Philly,
he's gonna be
bro,
the Robert
like,
Ory. He's in the Robert Ory 2.0.
Like, bro, it's crazy.
Except
I don't
Robert
know, it's
Ory
just my
actually
only
hit an
thing with,
impactful
like,
shot.
With Danny Green, he's just too flaky. He's too flaky for me. That's the only thing,
Yeah,
Because he can put up big numbers. He can have a night where he's shooting the fucking lights out, but you never know. You never know with him, and that's just what annoys me with him. So,
That's fair.
So moving into the fourth series in the East, probably one of the most interesting series in the whole playoffs, the New York Knicks against the Atlanta Hawks. And bro, I keep seeing the meme of Trae Young, and then you see under below it's the sucker with the hair on it. I die every single time because Trae Young's hair is brutal. I don't know like if he's gonna go and get that fixed, but I mean I don't think he's too worried about that right now. Atlanta has a lead on the New York Knicks, don't they?
yes,
They're
3-1.
up 3-1. Yeah.
Wow.
All those memes are cute until your team is down 3-1
Right.
to that dude.
Right,
And it's
yeah.
not like that dude is not doing anything.
No.
He's killing them out there.
He's a dog.
They should literally, their game plan should have been stop Trae Young and let everybody else beat you. But they're just stopping everybody else. And Trae Young is beating them.
Mm-hmm.
With Clint Capella just going to the basket, Trae Young just dishing it to him or having an open shot. Before this, I predicted the Hawks
Yeah.
to win in 6. I think you guys predicted the Knicks to win in 6. It's been an interesting series, and the fact that the Trey is that guy that's talking shit to everybody, I'm enjoying the series, man. It's been a fun series to watch, and I want to see how they're gonna deal with the next series versus the Philadelphia, hopefully, or the Wizards.
I feel like I'm gonna need you to fact check that, or I said the Knicks are gonna win in 6.
I believe you did, because I know I did.
It was the Knicks. Okay. You guys, both of you guys said the Knicks.
Yeah.
The numbers, I don't remember fully, but
I know I said Knicks in 6.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, because I was banking on my boy D Rose.
Yeah, you did. You were riding for D Rose way too hard, bro.
Yeah, I know. It's because I just want, it's.
No, I'm not pausing that. He was riding for that.
Like, I just want him to do well. That's all, It's like when you're watching, like, your buddy play or like your kid out there. Even though your kid's a part of like a terrible fucking team and their team is garbage.
Go get him, Timmy.
And I get it. Like, your parents went through this, Tobias. They'd show
up shut up. Shut up, bro.
They were still in the stands going, let's go, Tobias. Let's go.
This guy came for me so subtly, too. It was just like,
I didn't even see
I'm going to slide this right in, bro. I'm going to slide this in. We're going to start calling Chris the mailman. He's just sending out deliveries.
This guy just threw a shot right away.
So
you want them to do well. So that's all right. That's my feelings towards Derrick Rose. I just want him to do well, just because of like the roller coaster that was or is his career.
And what would a Lob It Up podcast episode be without me referencing Clubhouse? The other night I was on Clubhouse and there was this Atlanta Hawks homer in the room, bro. He was saying Atlanta's gonna go to the finals. I laughed at him right out of the room. I was like, bro, I can't even stay for this. I can't even stay for this. He was saying that they'll beat the Knicks, which, okay. He's like, and then whether it's Philly or whether it's Washington, but definitely if it's Washington, he's like, you don't understand Atlanta's offense. Atlanta's 10 times better in offense than Philly. I'm like, bro, like, and to your point that you just made, Steve Ash, I'm like, they have two insane defensive players in Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. He's like, doesn't matter. You don't understand how good Trae Young is. I'm like, I don't think you understand just the skill level of Trae Young. He's a good player, but bro, like, you can't take one player and especially in their first year in the playoffs and carry a team to the finals. Like, and then to beat the Nets, like, what? No, it's not gonna happen. So wild people.
I think we should mention that Trae Young did come out and show out. Like, before the playoffs, there was a lot of discussions of if he's going to be, hunting for fouls, if he's going to be a defensive liability. And I do think he is a defensive liability.
Mm-hmm.
But the Knicks do not have the guard power to be able to keep him moving and put him in situations on defense that he's going to be in foul trouble or he's going to get exhausted. They have DeRozan, but they, the way you play on defense, if you have a defensive liability, is you put that guy on the worst offensive player if he's a catch-and-shoot player or if he's in corner.
Yeah.
And they haven't been the Knicks haven't tried to put Trae Young in situations on defense that he might get exhausted, that on offense he doesn't do the output that he's doing.
All right, so jumping over to the Western Conference, where should we start? There's quite a few good matchups here. Yeah, okay.
Dallas Mavericks.
All right. Let me hear your guys' thoughts on the Clippers and Mavs series so far.
I texted Chris before Game 3.
Great.
He did.
I'm like, I texted him like, bro, I might get on a FaceTime with Tobias. Let's see where this game goes. As I'm texting Chris, the Clippers came back from a, I think, 20-point deficit.
They did.
In like this first half.
Yeah.
And I text you, I'm like, hey, Tobias, can we get on a FaceTime? You couldn't. We're not going to talk about why.
Like the first quarter, I watched the first quarter, and I said, I can't do this shit. I'm going to go make other plans. So I did that.
But they came back on Game 3, and Game 4, they had a successful come back now. The series is tied. One thing I do want to say is our boy Luka is not looking like he's 100%.
Neck spasms.
What's that?
Neck spasms.
Is it neck? Because I saw him playing with the shoulder too. The guy just banged up a little bit.
Yeah. I heard it was the
He's
neck,
trying.
but either way, that's a big piece, to have.
Like this guy came out the gates flying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't ride that momentum forever. It's like when you pump yourself up, before a big game. You're going out there, you're gonna crush it, you're gonna kill it, but then that momentum fades.
Yeah.
And looking at like the box score from like the last game, it's just like, man, Dallas's. The rest of the players were quiet.
Well, and that's what I'll say.
Porzingis and Luka, and that's it.
Yeah,
nobody else scored over 10 points. Oh, sorry, fucking who? I don't even know. Is that Boban?
Yeah, probably. He had a good game.
Boban had 12 points, and nobody else had over 10.
Porzingis was a bright light in that game 4, which he should be like. Dude, you're the number 2 option. I don't think he's the number 2 option, but you are the number 2 option on this team. But then you have a player in Tim Hardaway Jr. I love Tim Hardaway Jr. He is inconsistent as fuck. He might drop 25 for you one game and then put up 9 the next 5 games. I have this thing, and I think I told you guys, the way I look at a basketball team, really at any sport, is you have your 2 best players. Usually whenever you're, your big 3, when you're looking at the big 3, you have your 2 best players, and you can count on them. They're going to give you points. They should be. Speaking as a Clippers fan, Paul George didn't really do that for me in the latter games of the Denver Nuggets series last year. But when you look at your team, your big 3, quote unquote, you need your 3rd guy to be the most important guy. He's not the best guy in your team. He's not the most skilled guy. But in my mind, Tim Hardaway Jr. is that number 3. He's the most important player on that team because he's going to be the one that decides if the game is theirs or if it's the Clippers. Because if he's not on, Luka's going to do his thing, bro. Luka's going to go off. He's going to post up 40. He's going to put up a triple-double. KP should be there as well. He should be putting up points, grabbing boards. But if Tim Hardaway's not on, then that's a big problem for you guys. Because you saw that, not you guys, but you saw that in the first 2 games. Tim Hardaway, which lights out. So, as far as the Clippers, I've learned through the years to just take it one game at a time. So, it's a best of 3 series now. You're going to LA, so use that. Luckily, the Clippers have been good on the road so far this year, so that's nice. But, just one game at a time, try to win, and, you shouldn't be getting out in the first round, so that's not even an option.
Was trying to find a clip of Kawhi Leonard's scream, and I was going to preface it as the most annoying sound in basketball ever. What was that noise?
No! That's his scream.
That's Kawhi. Come on, bro. Don't do that.
Yeah, like
the
Kawhi.
way... I'm sure Chris remembers. I was going to play it, and I was going to say Chris is just going to have a good nostalgia of
PTSD.
Good moments. Because that... Not even in a good way. Because that Kawhi scream led them to a championship.
Yeah.
That every time Kawhi goes to the basket, he raises his arms and throws the basketball. Ah! And he gets a foul call every time. And every time I watch Kawhi, it is the most annoying thing in the world. He's just every time. And I was watching the game 3, and I just kept seeing it. And the Clippers just have to keep going to Kawhi.
Yeah.
Because the Mavericks don't have a way to stop him. They keep putting Maxi Kleber on him.
Yeah.
And Maxi Kleber is not stopping Kawhi.
He's got I always fuck this up. It's either ACL or MCL, but his ankle. He's got an ACL injury right now that he's nursing, Kleber. So, bro, Kleber, fully healthy Kleber, is going to have a hard problem defending Kawhi. So you give him an injury, that's tough. Yeah. And like you say, a lot of the analysis are saying go to the paint. They don't have paint protection. And that's why you saw them put in Boban, because Boban is not a skill player, but he's going to stop you from going to the paint. The guy's massive, right? And you're not going to toss him around. But, KP, you're not scared of Porzingis in the paint.
No.
So, yeah, you keep going to the paint, keep going to Kawhi. I totally agree. And speaking of that 3-player combo thing, in my opinion, for the Clippers, Marcus Morris Sr. is the most important player on the Clippers. He needs to be going.
Morris is a man, this guy is cold-blooded.
Yeah.
Every time he shoots the ball, and he waits, he catches the ball.
Yeah.
He waits for the defender to come to right in front of him, and then he shoots and makes it in the guy's face.
Yeah.
And I think he got a technical in game 3 because he started doing the gun.
The guns, I was like,
gun
yo,
figures.
chill out, bro.
Bro, he is a cold-blooded shooter, man. But I don't want him to put the ball on the floor. If his catch and shoot is great.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to something said. Bringing in Boban is dangerous for the Mavericks. I saw this with Philadelphia when they played the Nets a few years ago. You just got to put Boban in a pick and roll situation, and he's just going to do a drop coverage where he's sitting in the paint, but then your three-pointer is wide open. So that's where the danger of bringing in Boban is that he can't come up because then he's not fast enough to get back either.
One thing I'm glad the Clippers finally figured out, because I noticed it after Game 3 last year, so I'm glad it took them fucking 10 games to figure it out. But the Mavericks would always run this play where Luka would come up with the ball, or someone else would come up with the ball. After they get past half, they pass it to Luka. Then a screen gets set. Kawhi's on Luka. A screen gets set. Kawhi gets mixed up with the screen, and then Reggie Jackson is now covering Luka. And that's when you were seeing Luka. Remember that, I think it was like an OT one, or it was one to send it to OT last year against the Mavericks, and Luka hit that dirty step back, and it was on Reggie. That play happened over and over and over, and I'm like, how have you not figured out a way to combat this? And there was a play, and I noticed it a lot in Game 4, but Kawhi would get mixed up with the screener, but then he would just step back. He would just literally let everything happen, let Reggie or whoever it was go with the screener, and then Kawhi would just stay right in front of him. So I was like, thank God, you figured that out, because that was almost as annoying as Jamal Murray's fucking floaters, bro. Ugh.
Hates the floaters.
Good fucking, we were playing.
Trauma.
Fucking Dion and I were playing pickup the other day, and he did one of those. So don't ever do that again. He's like, what? I'm like, don't do these fucking floaters. We're on a pickup court. We're not in the NBA. Fuck this. He's like, okay.
Points are points.
Tobias should write a book called "The Traumas of a Clippers Fan."
Yeah, exactly.
There's a chapter about the Denver Nuggets
Yeah.
and the Jamal Murray floaters and the milk bag.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's literally playoff basketball.
Yeah.
It's just hunting for mismatches.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron did it with Curry all the time. You just bring in whoever's guarding Curry, come send me a pick. The Rockets did it. And then the way you outsmart that is you do a pre-switch. So if you see the screener going, you quickly switch with someone else if they're in that same area. Because you don't want to get that mismatch and be stuck in that guarding that player that you can't guard.
Yeah. Speaking of LeBron, speaking of the other team in LA, the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Phoenix Suns. This
Looking like
is
there's
a
some trouble.
series, bro. And AD,
AD's not
impactful
playing.
player. Yeah. AD's
Oh,
out right now
Yeah.
for Game 5. That's tough. He's been nursing his knee injury, but then, he just had to pull a groin, and that's tough, bro. Even if you come back, you're not 100% playing. That's tough, bro. That's tough.
Seeing Chris Paul kind of still play through the injury and be able to lead this team has been impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see that in Game 5 a lot. And I saw Skip Bayless, I think, did this tweet today. This is going to be LeBron's most important game this year.
Game 5?
Game
It's a
5,
swing game, yeah.
Without AD.
Yeah.
This is a 2-2 series. The next person is just going to take a lead and just has to win one versus the other team has to win 2 games. This is the moment for this series.
Yeah.
That's
Oof.
crazy.
It'll be crazy. Yeah, when was the last time LeBron's had a first round exit? Was it probably his rookie years?
Not.
Or even
I
Like
don't know if
he's
he's ever had his
missed the
first round exit.
playoffs, but I don't think he's ever had a
Yeah.
first round exit.
That's the thing. It's bro, it's getting scary for him
Mm-hmm.
down there.
Mm-hmm.
The closest he's gotten was the Game 7 against the Indiana Pacers.
The Paul
in
George.
2018.
Or no, what Paul?
No,
What
it
Paul
was
George?
actually Oladipo.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk about, and I don't want it to come across as LeBron hate, because I do appreciate LeBron, but I want to get your guys' opinion. Have you seen the video of the last game? It was a 1 minute and 30 or 1 minute and 40 seconds left. They were down by 7. Did you know what play I'm talking about, Siavash?
But Dennis Schroeder missing a layup.
Yeah, and then LeBron just pushed Ayton and didn't even run back.
Yeah.
Man, come on, bro. You're down by. I know you're down by 7. I know that's tough. You can still come back, but maybe not. Maybe you're conserving your energy. I don't know, but not even just LeBron, but any superstar in the league, I would expect, especially someone that's looked up through players in the league, through fans, I would expect that you're giving your all till the whistle goes.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that I don't like about this Lakers team, even since he's gone to the Lakers. There's a lot of young pieces there since the beginning he got there, and that was something that Rondo told him last year, is that these guys look up to you.
Yeah.
So when you do the classic LeBron, throw your hands in the air, or just complain to your teammates, why did you not switch this, or why is that guy wide open? These guys are just crushed because they're looking at you as an idol. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, LeBron is just trying to play the game. And what you're saying, I do agree that he should be setting an example for them. That, hey, whatever happened, just get back on defense.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think LeBron just thinks he's way above that shit.
I know, but bro, this isn't just your team. I know, you're LeBron James, but this isn't just your team. That's if I would, I don't know. I don't want to say anything because I don't want it to seem like a bias. But if I'm AD and I'm sitting on the bench and I'm seeing that, I'll be like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? I'm injured right now, but I gonna come back. If we lose this game, then we're tied the series. And then you said, that Game 5 is pivotal. I don't know, man. I don't know. Chris, what's your take on it? I know you're a big LeBron guy. I wanted to know what your opinion was on it.
Yeah, it does, that aspect. It kind of sucks. You had to seeing that little, but I missed that push because I was watching that game, but obviously I'm at work, so I'm watching when I can and stuff, so I didn't really see it. And then at one point I thought the Lakers okay, they could come back, but it was just, I kept seeing though throughout the game just little stupid mistakes and things like that, and it's yes, sure, those are very coachable and teachable moments maybe for LeBron, but it's I'm sure LeBron's been doing this all season with you guys, having coachable and teachable moments, telling you man, when this happens, switch off. When this happens, do this, do that, do this, and it's kind of like a teacher being all right, all year, this is what we got to do. Da, 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 da. Now it's time for the test, and you're putting up your hand, being yo, teach. How do I do this? Well, I taught you how to do this.
Yeah,
I need you to execute it now. I need you to do it. I need you to come back and actually do the things I've taught you how to do. And it's just they aren't doing that. It's that one game, I saw it kind of sucks as you see Kuzma getting clowned for it. So you had Caruso with that off the backboard alley-oop to LeBron, and then Kuzma comes down a little bit later, tries to do the same thing, but completely fucking biffs it. And it's just hits the side of the board, hits the side of the rim, and LeBron's just bro, what are you doing? Why didn't you just, it's there's a time and a place for that kind of stuff, and I think it's he's probably also getting kind of a little fed up with that kind of stuff. It's guys, I need you, because again, looking at this box score, bruh, Caruso had 10, Kuzma had 11, Gasol had 12, and then everybody else under 10.
Yeah.
And then you had LeBron with 25, 12, and 6. And that's,
yeah.
But also, though, LeBron's free throw shooting has just been ugh, too. So, I don't know, man.
I just want to say, have we ever seen MJ having to play on a championship team with young guys the way LeBron has to do that? With Kuzma, with somebody like Caruso, with these guys that kind of came up right next to Braun as they had to grow into and become the player that they're going to become.
Well, he can't, you got to remember Scotty came in, Scotty came into the Bulls organization, right? So he was young when he came in. So he kind of had to, ish coach Scotty up, but, Scotty was good enough player to,
when did Scotty come in to,
it was 2-3 years after Jordan got drafted. So it was kind of not similar, but it was maybe a relationship like LeBron and Kyrie.
Sure, yeah, good analogy. We're just looking at the draft.
Yeah.
What's his name? Kuzma came in the league when LeBron was in the league 15 years already.
Yeah.
So there's a big gap, and Kuzma's still learning about the league, still got to mature into a player. And he's playing on a championship team, which means a lot to LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Pip was drafted in 87.
And Jordan was drafted in 84, so 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, so he hasn't had to deal with that young team. I'm not even like I didn't even want to bring Jordan into it. To be honest with you, I just literally wanted to like talk about that because that's tough, bro. Like I don't know, like I don't know, just go until the whistle goes.
I'm just thinking about having to play with young guys like that. Where again, LeBron, I do think he should do what we're saying, but at the same time, I don't blame him, man. You're on a championship team. Why you have to play with this young guy who still doesn't know how to be professional in moments like that?
And I will say this too, because it's like at the end of the day, yes, it is a championship team. Yes, it is this, but it's like you are playing basketball. Think back to like you could literally ask anybody if you're playing even just pickup ball, and like you're constantly having to coach like your guys, tell your guys,
You get
man,
annoyed,
like, when this happens, I need you to do this. You get annoyed and you get frustrated
that's true.
and stuff, right? So like it's gonna happen to like any of us. So like of
Like
course
I have to coach Chris about like, hey man, you gotta do a pick and roll, and you gotta stop trying to post up a bigger guy than you.
Exactly, like
block the shit out of your shot.
Exactly, and that's when I learned I need to step out because I can hit the threes that C can't hit. Right? I'm not building an addition to the basketball court. I'm not building a new changing facility off to the side with all the bricks I'm putting up. I'm actually hitting my shots. So that's the thing. So I learned from your coaching, which is great. Which is great. I learned from that, and I know yes, I cannot post up this bigger man, but I can't hit those threes. So.
This turned on me the way I was not expecting.
No, never, bro. This guy flips upside down like
bro,
it's
I'm like water. I just flow with it.
Okay, moving off those LA series, those are definitely very interesting. Three potential champ. Go ahead. Oh, actually, before we go over Jay Crowder. I want to touch on Jay Crowder. Like, did they? Because I didn't watch Game 4. Did they leave him alone, or did he just go off? Because he actually had a really good game in Game 4.
I think everybody in that game had a pretty like balanced game. I think multiple players had over 15 points in that game, but I wasn't watching the game.
Okay.
So Chris might be able to comment on this more than I can.
Again, like I didn't get to watch like a whole lot of it, but yeah, I think it's just all around good play from like everybody like on the squad. You know, like Jay Crowder was hitting his shots, he was doing what he was supposed to do. But then it's like I think like let me pull it back because I was just looking because I think he finished with 17, but then Booker finished with 18. Chris Paul finished with 19.
Wow. Okay.
So it's like everybody kind of got like a touch, and everybody I think was everybody just had like a good game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I do want to say we at the start of the playoffs we had a bet, me and Tobias,
Yes.
Cal Bridges averaging 10 points a game in this series. Right now he's averaging 8.25 a game, and for him, assuming they win the next two games, he has to score 27 points combined.
Oh,
So
okay.
I feel okay about where I'm standing.
Yeah, I would if I were you.
And I think the next series we might talk about, I do want to leave the Denver Nuggets and Portland Trailblazers for last, but me and Chris also have a bet on the Grizzlies versus the Jazz. And the bet was if the Grizzlies can get 2 games. And right now, I think I'm sitting fine with that. As
I know.
Series is
I'm getting a little
3-1
nervous.
with the Jazz.
I'm getting a little nervous.
These bets, bro, I might come out okay, but I don't want to talk my shit too early.
We're double or nothing, right? So Mikal Bridges doesn't get this. You're nothing.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I still do want to. I want to bet throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's leave Portland to the last, which one did you want to leave to last? Portland, or do you want
Portland. Yeah, let's talk about Grizzlies.
Let's talk about Grizzlies. Let's talk about the Utah Jazz. I mean, Donovan Mitchell. We obviously see his impact now that he's playing. What's your take? What's your take on this series so far? I love it because it's a lot of youth.
Yeah, because he was out the first game, right?
Yep.
Controversial situation too.
Yeah, so it's like, man, like you see this guy's impact because it's like, did Memphis not win the first game? I think it was.
It was
Without Donovan Mitchell, and then as soon as this guy is back, Memphis has not been able to grab the reins. Like he has been so impactful, and it's just like, bro, sucks.
I had a daydream, I guess, the other day. I was watching a highlight of last year's pre-game bubble games, whenever, more specifically, the Denver Nuggets and Utah Jazz game. Remember when Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell were going back and forth, just shooting the lights out? Yeah, and it came down to that final shot. one of the Utah Jazz players, I forget who it was. I feel like it was Connolly, came down the court, missed the shot, and Mitchell collapsed because he was so upset. And the Denver Nuggets went on to the playoffs. Yeah, I was just thinking, bro, as a Clippers fan, what that would have been like if it was Utah instead of Denver. But no, Utah this year, they're showing that they're a really good team. They've got depth, they've got scoring, they've got defense. They're a scary team in the West. They don't scare me as much as some other teams, but they definitely got a lot of the key pieces to win a championship.
That is a big if, and you know what, man? Watching this series, it reminds me of a conversation we had a few months ago. It was the Ja Morant versus LaMelo Ball conversation. And Ja Morant at the time didn't have, his stock wasn't as high, but these past few weeks, that guy's looking all right. He had 47 in one game. He's looking decent.
Yeah.
I'm excited for what Ja's bringing with that team right now.
Yeah, I'm not going to take away from what Ja's doing, but it's also, what have you done for me lately? We haven't seen LaMelo Ball play in, a couple weeks, right? So you're going to remember Ja's impact more. Ja, I love Ja, bro. I'm pretty sure he was just on a track. I'm pretty sure I heard him on a featured song the other day on TikTok. So
I want to say, yeah.
Yeah, this guy's
I saw him on, I think I follow him on Instagram, and I think he teased, should I drop this or whatever? And I was in the studio, and I was like, yo, are you rapping too?
Yeah, bro. This guy is Dame Dollar 2.0.
Yeah, shit. He Russ 2.0, and then in the studio,
exactly.
Dame Dollar 2.0.
Yeah.
Shit.
But yeah, I think it's inevitable that the Utah Jazz are going to win this series. The Grizzlies, they're just at that point where they still have to kind of get a bit of experience under their belt, especially for those key players. But yeah, it's definitely an exciting series. I'll be honest with you, I haven't watched a single game, so I don't really have much of an input on that. That's a very boring series to me. Again, there's excitement in the young players, but I don't know. I think my mind is still stuck in the Zach Randolph Memphis Grizzlies, so I'm like, I don't want to watch that. But yeah.
If this was the Warriors against the Jazz, I would have been watching every game.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so moving on to the final series in the Western Conference of the playoffs. The Portland Trail Blazers versus the Denver Nuggets. My opinion, the most exciting series in the West.
Yeah, this has been a crazy series. I think, with the exception of last game, I have watched every single game just because it's been so good. It's been such a back and forth. It was just all right, Portland's coming out hot. Can't remember. They took game one?
Yes.
I think it was. Portland won game one. Yeah, and then from here, people are like, oh, okay, this is it. Portland's winning. Portland in 5. Then it was all right, Portland in 6. All right, Portland in 7. It's bro, because the series is tied 2-2 right now, right? So,
yes.
But I think it was game 3, and it was. I'm just looking up the box scores right now, but I feel like that was the game that Dame put up 40 or something stupid.
I think that was game 2, and it's been interesting seeing how much the Trailblazers are living and dying by that 3-point shot.
Oh, 1,000%, man. Because it's hard. Because how do you go into the paint with Jokic down there?
Milk bag.
Yeah, no way, no thanks.
He's just like a little bean bag now. Just plop him down there, and you're not doing much.
Milk bag.
Oh, man, that guy. I didn't think they were going to get 2 games without Murray. I was in the same boat. Once the Trailblazers won game 1, I was hesitant. I was like, oh man, here we go again. They're just going to get out in the first round. That guy's MVP. He's not going to get his dues, but I'm excited to see where the series goes. I think we all had it going to game 7.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see how this goes.
Do you have a favorite in one of those teams? Obviously we don't know who, as we just discussed, we don't know who it'll be, who they'll face, but it'll either be the Suns or the Lakers. Do you have do you think, the Trailblazers have a better chance to beat them to go to the conference finals, or do you think the Nuggets have a better chance to beat them? Who do you think has a better chance to advance to the conference finals?
as much as I like Dame and CJ, I do think the Nuggets are a better all around team. And when you run against those two teams, the Suns or the Lakers,
Yeah.
you do need an all around team. And you might need one or two guys to be able to carry you. But I think, yeah, I will take the Nuggets.
Yeah, I think you're right because Jokic will be a bit more. I don't want this to come across the wrong way, but Jokic will be a bit more impactful than Dame Dollar would, than Damian Lillard would, because Jokic can go into the paint. He can shoot from the perimeter. He can pass. He can rebound, and especially against two teams that there's questions about Ayton. I think he's done well so far in the playoffs, but he is still young. He's what would my dad say, like he's green behind the ears or something like that. Yeah, it's some weird.
What does that mean?
He's young. He's
He's
inexperienced.
still young, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then with the Lakers, obviously Anthony Davis questions. Andre Drummond overrated.
Is Drummond hurt too? Like,
It's just not good, dude. Like
He's hurt mentally.
yeah, he's
yeah,
not
it's
good.
like, what is this guy doing? Like, this guy is not.
And when I was watching, oh my god, like it's so cringe. But when I was watching him like imitate LeBron on the bench, like there's a picture of him doing this. I'm like, bro, are you
I love
5? Like, ugh, he's not
He's
good.
living his dream. He's
But
watching his favorite player go off.
I understand now why the Cavs cut him. Like I think he's lost it. Like I don't know if he has what he did in Detroit.
Did he do anything in Detroit, or was he on a bad team just getting numbers?
Fair. That's,
yeah, was
that's
he
a totally fair
was
point.
he a Julius Randle?
That's a totally fair point.
Because I don't think he has ever had the offensive tools. I think he was just a guy, get the rebound, put it up, 20, like a 20 and 20 kind of player.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Okay, so
Or
Leo, go ahead.
go ahead, sir.
Nope.
No,
I was just gonna round it off.
Look at both of
I
you
was
guys.
gonna say before we round it off, I do want to talk about the fans and the incidents that's been happening.
Yeah, for
last
sure.
Week in the playoffs, I think it started, and one of the days it was the Knicks. Somebody spit on Trae Young.
Which like
And
let me say that's gross pre-COVID. Like
It's weird.
It's fucking like why are you spitting on people? That's fucking like that's like one of the biggest insults. But like
Oh yeah.
during COVID or post-COVID, that's fucking like that's almost a felony, bro. Like what the fuck are you
No,
doing?
bro. Like, I've been saying this. Spitting is probably, to me, is one of the most disrespectful things you can do. Nothing
You would have
will,
to fight.
nothing will make me see red more than if you were to spit on me.
Because
The
bro,
second
you
you
spit on the
spit-
ground, like so that's what you're basically saying. You're
So
fucking-
disrespectful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bruh.
So was that the same day? I think it was somebody pouring popcorn over
Russ.
Russell Westbrook. Then I think either the same day or the next day, it was somebody at the Utah Jazz Memphis Grizzlies game. Somebody calling Dylan Brooks an half-breed.
Oh shit, I didn't even hear about that one.
That
Oh,
was
shit, yeah.
wild. John Moran said his family. Somebody was talking crazy to his family.
Dang,
that
bro.
And then most recently with the Celtics, before the Nets went to go play at Boston, there was a lot of talk about racism in
Yep.
Boston. And then with the Celtics, somebody threw a water bottle at Kyrie Irving, and thankfully he got arrested,
Yeah.
and he's facing charges for assault.
Yeah, loser,
But
bro.
honestly,
Like,
I feel like this
fucking
guy's
loser.
gonna get off though, because like one of the pages I follow, like they did like a dive into that person's back, and of course, rich, privileged, fucking guy. So he's probably gonna get off with like a fucking slap on the wrist. I guarantee it.
Which
and
is
if-
unfortunate, bro, but
Yeah, and it's like, hopefully, at least the Boston organization will give this guy a lifetime ban from games or whatever, or just do something. But because you had that couple last year that were screaming
Oh.
like racial slurs at Russ, and then they came back and tried to sue Russ, and then apparently like a judge threw it out and was just like, bro, like, yes, you're stupid. Trying to claim
Yeah.
defamation of character. It's like, bro, we caught you in 4K saying racial slurs, and then you want to come back and say, well, we're not bad people. What?
yeah.
Like-
It's unfortunate too because like we haven't been able to go to like games or events or anything like that for a year and a bit, and then we're finally able to do that, and people are acting like fucking buffoons. Like it's a joke, bro. It's a mockery, and it makes people that actually want to go, those other 12,000 people that are in the arena, it makes those people look bad, and we're all going to paint them, in the same picture, because it's like, well, we open up the gates to allow you to attend an event, and you're acting like you're a zoo animal. Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, that's so immature. Like, I don't know. Because this, like, and maybe this happened before, but it was a bit, like, quieter because it wasn't such a new thing to us. Like, going to events and whatnot, that's new to us again, right? Like, we haven't been able to do this for a while. So maybe it happened before, but it was, like, swept under the rug, per se. Like, it was kind of, like, not really talked about, but now it's in this big spotlight.
Here's my take. In the past 5 years, we've seen this become bigger. We've seen, I was just watching this video of this lady calling LeBron a pussy-ass bitch as he's going into the arena, back into the locker room. We've seen, with the situation with Russ, a few years ago, it was with Ramon Sessions, where he went to dive for the ball into the fans, into the stands, and the old man, like, he was patting him on the back, and then he grabs his ass. We saw with Kyle Lowry, with the owner of the Warriors a few years ago, they had a little back and forth. Listen, man, it's been, I think, 17 years since the Mouse in the Palace.
Yeah.
We might need to see it again, because these fans are not scared of these players. Last time we saw somebody throw water at a basketball player, it was with Ronald just laying down on the scoreboard, and then we saw what happened. These guys are not scared of this, and you got to know your boundaries, man.
And bringing it to, like, across other sports, like, basketball is different than hockey. There is literal fucking plexiglass around the arena. You're not sitting beside the players. Like, in basketball, you have the luxury. If you're able to afford those tickets, you have the luxury of being able to sit beside or around, or be within touching or speaking distance of LeBron James. Don't take that for granted, because that can be taken away. Who's to say they don't add a fucking barrier around where they don't allow people to sit in the first, like, 3 or 4 rows? Who's to say they don't do that? So, I mean, if you're gonna act a fool, then yeah, like, I think something's gonna end up happening, and I can hear the fucking social justice warriors now. Well, it doesn't matter that he's an athlete. He should be treating me with respect. No. This isn't a fucking zoo. You're not here to watch animals in a cage. Like, you're going out for entertainment. These are people too. They have lives, and they have feelings. Like, you shouting out racial slurs or anything that hurts a person's character, like, that's gonna affect them. So grow the fuck up.
In watching that LeBron video, all the comments under it, wow, she was so right for calling me a pussy ass. Every comment, man. And this is what bothers me. When somebody gets those people kicked out, when somebody like that guy that threw a water bottle gets arrested and is facing charges, those players get called all kind of terms because of doing what's right for their safety. And I don't get that. Because you're a basketball player, you're supposed to get water bottles thrown at you and go home and have another day. Like, come on, man. That's just treat people with respect, and they will treat you with the same respect. You got to give it to get it. And if you disrespect people, don't expect them to just say goodbye. That's not going to work.
And bring it back to hockey one more time. When it comes to hockey, like, there's a lot of, like, jeering and stuff. Like, you're chirping. Like, if I was at the game last night, I'm yelling at Marner. I'm fucking pissed. Like, you're a fucking bum. Get off the ice. That's not personal. I'm not sitting 10 feet away from him. It's not direct. I'm not throwing anything at him. So, I mean, especially in the sport of basketball, I think more than football, more than baseball, more than hockey, those 4 major North American sports, respect your seats and respect your surroundings, because that can be easily taken away from you. Easily.
Yeah. Because it's like, I don't want to generalize, and I don't want to say it is only a certain type of demographic that is doing this.
Yeah, I know.
But when you look back at, like, the years, and, like, C was, like, kind of saying, like, we're seeing more and more of this, and, like, maybe it didn't happen. Like it was probably happening back then, but just with the big shift, especially, like, in the States, of, like, like, racial equality and things like that, the Black Lives Matter, all of this stuff, it's people aren't as tolerant to it anymore, and people are quick to be like, you know what, I'm gonna call you out for doing like this type of shit because
Yeah.
like you said, Tobias, like you're up in the stands, you'd be like, oh martyr, like you're a bum, like you need to like get out of here, you need to yada yada yada, this that and the other, but you're not whipping shit at him, you're not
Yeah.
doing like whatever. Whereas
And I'm
like,
also
these
not
people-
attacking his character.
Exactly. Whereas you get like these people who are sitting so close to the players that like I could literally breathe on the back of their necks, and it's like, you know what? You guys are technically, and you can't see me because like, sorry, I was having some technical issue with the camera, but these guys are supposed to be the elites, the elitists, like the high class, like of
Yeah.
society, and you guys are just reverting to your most basic fucking instincts and treating like these players as if they're again just animals out there on the court putting on a show for you and not people at the end of the day.
That's a really good point that you bring up too, Chris. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with the race factor of it because it definitely is strongly predominantly white people. However, like, we're three different races here, but I guarantee you get, and I think it's away from race. I think it's more economic standing. Well, I have all
Yeah.
this money, I can do whatever the fuck I want.
And that's more what I was leaning to. It's more
Yeah.
towards, because I'm not gonna say like, oh, every person with money is like a terrible
Yeah.
person.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
can just throw money at this situation and do whatever I want.
But like, if you
yeah.
gave us three those seats, there's. You think we're fucking throwing a water bottle at somebody or spitting on somebody? No, because we're gonna be
Dog,
appreciative that we even have that opportunity, and maybe that's
Exactly.
what
I'm
they
s-
need to do.
I'm sitting courtside at like the Lakers game, the finals, and Bron's there. I'm not trying to fucking tell LeBron he's a pussy ass bitch. I'm trying to be like, oh, there's a loose thread on his jersey. Let me snip that off and sell that on
Yeah.
eBay.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just
But-
appreciating the fact that I am there.
But maybe
Like-
it's that where they take out a ring around like the crowd, like the audience, or what am I trying to think of? Like the fans, like the seating and whatnot. And
Yeah.
so there's the player bench, there's the coaches, there's like personnel for the team or whatever, media, and then there's a blank row, and then there's fans. But that blank row, maybe that's where you fucking bring in like Make-A-Wish kids. Because they're not going to fucking do that. And they're going to appreciate that a hell of a lot more than any fucking asshole that's got $1 billion.
Yeah, because it's like
Look, man,
you still get
I
those
agree.
genuine and honest fans, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, and you will see the players respond to those. Like Jason, like Tatum, he almost broke fucking protocol by going to dap up the fan because the fan was like, "Oh, you're playing nice," and came to dap him. And if he would have done that, he would have been out for whatever.
Yeah.
And then you saw the staff like just be like, "Oh, my bad. Like you can't do this." But like they're still willing to like do that stuff for the players, but like the fans. But then you have the fans treating them like dog shit.
Yeah.
Look, again, I think this thing about like, oh, we can't say anything to these players. No, they hear the chirps every day. The booing, the get out of here, trash, all of that.
Yeah.
If they can't hear it, somebody like Kevin Durant, he's being called out right now
Yeah.
for talking back to the fans for those small chirps. But this, I think, I agree with your point that this is the economic thing. I think you can be on either end of the spectrum. You either don't have a job and just don't care for going to jail for just throwing a water bottle, or you just got too much money. You're like, hey man, I'll get out of it. I
I'll
don't
give
care
a
about
fuck.
the bail.
Yeah.
I just don't think. I think it's precedent has to be set. And when I say Mouse in the Palace has to happen, I'm joking. But let's be honest. If it happens, look at all the incidents that didn't happen between 2004 and up until recently.
Yeah, I'm not fucking with
Because
Russell
people-
Westbrook, bro. Holy fuck. Bro.
Bro. Like even Russ had that issue with those couple in Jazz in Utah because he told them, "Hey, I'll fuck you up annually."
Yeah.
'Cause he was really aggressive
bro.
because he heard some crazy shit. So imagine that really happens. Imagine if somebody's gonna talk to Russ now. Don't do that, man. Don't say racial slur to these people.
Yeah.
Again, don't say racial slur to these players because there's real trauma with some of these players, man. You don't want to. You're not gonna go to Utah and hear some white guy say some crazy shit to you just because you're playing. Again, as Chris said, this is not a zoo.
Yeah.
It's not. You're not for viewing. We're people.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. That's where it gets misconstrued, and like I said, like a couple times already, like NBA fans, they don't, and if they don't watch other sports, maybe they don't understand it, but like they probably have it the best out of all the fans, bro. You are right there, you are within the action, right? Like the NFL,
Yeah.
there's a whole fucking pitch basically in between you from where you are in the field. Hockey, there's a fucking plexiglass. At baseball, there's mesh. Like you can't get any closer than NBA basketball. So don't take that for granted, bro, because that can be taken away from you.
Yeah,
So
100%.
well, that was a good episode, boys. I really
Good,
enjoyed
good,
that. You know, we touched base on kind of the updates of the NBA and what's going on with you know, with the playoffs, with the series. A couple surprises so far, but I think for the most part, they're all going to turn out the way that we had predicted. We even broke down some of the I don't know if you call it social issues, but some of the mishaps that have been happening in the arenas and
Yeah.
how much the fans are kind of taking their presence for granted. And Steve Ash keeps racking up those points in trivia, man. I'm in a deficit, bro. I'm in a calorie deficit right now. So another good episode. Good chatting with you boys. As always, episode 16. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Lob It Up Pod. Go ahead and give us a subscribe on YouTube or like our podcast on Apple or on Spotify. And until next week, peace.
Yeah.